happened to hear this New York banker type say that our country's all wrong and that we don't belong in affairs that are so far away. And so I pushed back my chair and I stood up right there and made sure the whole bar heard me say, I'm totally gay for America. I'm totally gay for the US of A. From the east to the west, from the north to the south.
And the winner is @blue_pale_high.
Kiss Mount Rushmore and drop my pants to my waist. Then take the Washington Monument all the way to its base. There ain't a lot of things that make me feel this way, but this country of mine makes me totally gay. Now I know things ain't right. It's on the news every night and in the papers almost every day. I wanna hug Uncle Sam, caress his hair with my hand, and let him know everything is okay. Maybe give him a quick peck at the nape of his neck and rub his shoulders till his cares went away. Trace the curves of his thighs and look into his eyes and see if he wants to go hit the hay. 'Cause I'm totally gay for America. I'm totally gay for the US of A. I know we could never get married, but he never asked me anyway. 'Cause it would undermine the family. I know that's what he'd say, but we could keep it a secret and continue on that way. And I'd be faithful and loyal till he threw me away. There ain't a lot of things that make me feel this way, but this country of mine makes me totally gay.
I just kid you no, absolutely hitting it again with another banger that's 20 years old. That they uploaded to YouTube 20 years ago and is more relevant today than ever before. Hello, everybody. Blue got first, narrowly beating out Hobby. Congratulations. I have a sound for that.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
I'm gonna see if I can upload that as like the alert for first. I'm playing Cyberpunk. Oh god. Nice. How was everybody's 4th? What did you all do? Did anybody see fireworks? I did, but I also watched a lot of fireworks fall over and light other fireworks on fire. I didn't even do my makeup. I have it right here. I was totally distracted by putting sounds in and getting the soundboard set up. I stayed home and played video games. We did that most of the day. We took the kids to the park and did a picnic with them for a little while. Then we went home and watched the fireworks on our porch. It was pretty nice. I feel very fortunate that out of all the terrible crap going on, I can at least watch fireworks from my porch. Not many other people can say that. Me and my parents are going to be watching fireworks in a bit. Nice! Edit alert. Follower. Channel points. I want first, and then I want to go to visuals and sound. And I want to delete the clown file, and I'm going to upload the. Gotta be quicker than this, and I'm gonna hit that. And then I'm gonna turn the volume all the way up on it, and then I'm gonna hit save. And I'm gonna hit play to see how loud it is.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Alright, good enough. I'll figure it out later, but that's what today is for. I'm probably just gonna sit on my beanbag chair and watch My Hero Academia while I play Cyberpunk. That sounds fun. That sounds pretty relaxing. What time are fireworks starting? Like 9, 10 o'clock? So, yeah, yesterday was pretty chill. Oh, we played in the water. Like, we have, like, this tiny little inflatable pool that attaches to a slip and slide. So we played in that for a little bit. I got a little bit more tan. Actually, you can't really see my tan lines because I was wearing a tube top. So it's kind of harder to see them. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the color we're gonna dye it. It's like a bubblegum pink. My hair's still kind of a little on, like, ginger-y, so I hope it takes. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a split dye. So, around that, but my dad wants to get there around 7 because usually there's a lot of people. That's fair. Traffic's always a nightmare. So I think what I'm gonna do is do a split dye where, like, I can get it straight. This half is gonna be pink, and this half is gonna be blonde. I'm gonna keep it that way for as long as I can because we watch them at a big old parking area used for a mall or something. It's next to a McDonald's. That's all right. There's a lot of people who have like giant shows out the bay back here because it's the easiest place to set them off. I got gloves thanks to my partner who reminded me that we had gloves. And yeah, today's gonna be a pretty chill stream. Emotionally, thank you. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Blue. We are doing a community Fortnite over on the Discord. Planning that after we reach our channel points. If you'd like to contribute to that, feel free to check down where there's the little cheery emoji. Or you can join the Discord. Or you can just fish, whatever you want to do. The winner of the fishing challenge, or the fishing this month, gets on my water bottle. And what else? Oh, also, I've been posting more to my Patreon, to, like, the all members tier, but I do have 3 tiers. I have a $1 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier. 2 of which are now currently cheaper than a Twitch subscription. So feel free to check out my Patreon. I need to link that on my page. But it is in the Discord. But I've been posting a little bit more there. To I don't know, I've been kind of using it like a little like blog journal thing, like a place to vent my longer opinion without it like blasting out to the internet. So I don't know if that's what it's going to turn into, but that's what my Patreon is now. Anyway, I'm going to get the gloves on and I'm going to get started, but while I'm doing this, we're going to watch the news. So, but before I even do that, I need to make sure my part is centered up. As best as humanly possible. To follow this widow's peak as far back as I can. Great. You know what I forgot? All of my, like, hair dyeing, like, professional shit. I just left that inside. Left it inside like it's nobody's business. Okay, center as center could be. Alright, anyway.
Wix gives you the
Ads,
freedom
man.
to
Even
tell
when you
your
have ad
story
blocker.
with a professional website.
So every president has a big legislative priority that they want to get done in their first year. The first year is always the pivotal time where you can push big pieces of legislation forward. And regardless of party or ideology or the merits of the idea.
Oh yeah, I replaced the box TV I had with a flat screen. Congratulations! That's awesome! Save the box, though. You might be able to do some cool prop work with it. Make it into, like, a Fallout cabinet or something. I had the flat screen. Gotcha. I watched a YouTube video last night that randomly popped up on our feed. It was really good. Canadian woman released from ICE custody after nearly 5 months. Oh my god. History. I'm gonna link this in the Discord as well, but it was so good. It's how to make a like a life-size prop. I just put it on one of my old desks so I can have my PS3 60 and N64 connected to it. Nice. But anyway, check out that video. It's really, 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 really good. Oh, I also just pinned it. All right, anyway.
Ideas. The basic question that drives it for every single one of them is typically pretty simple. What's the problem you want to solve? Maybe it was a problem you inherited. Maybe it's making good on a campaign promise. Maybe it's a crisis nobody saw coming that's now sitting in your lap because you're the president. I mean, I worked for 2 presidents, and that's how it went for them, but that's how it has gone for pretty much every president for decades. Obama's first 18 months were focused around getting the Recovery Act passed because his priority at the time was digging the country out of the huge economic hole, the massive unemployment rate crisis that was created by the 2008 financial meltdown. He also fought to pass Dodd-Frank, a Wall Street reform package, to address the problems that had led to the financial crisis. And of course, he pushed very, very, very hard for the Affordable Care Act because far too many Americans lacked health insurance. He was solving clear problems, pulling the country out of an economic hole, trying to prevent it from happening again, trying to give people health insurance who didn't.
This smells like straight up Fruity Pebbles. Like straight up.
Have it. Fast forward to when Joe Biden took office. That was the height of a global pandemic. And his focus was, of course, on delivering a rescue plan to help address the economic damage it was causing and to help get all sorts of equipment out to people, whether it was tests or masks or things to help people address and prevent them from getting COVID. That was his focus. He also signed a giant bill into law that addressed the country's infrastructure needs, something way overdue. Remember the infrastructure week that was in Trump's first term, seemingly every week? Well, Joe Biden actually did it.
As much as I want to watch this, I do have to just stare at my face because I can't really see what I'm doing from that tiny little screen. So this brand is Good Die Young. This is Haley Williams' brand from Paris. This particular section of hair dye is called color. So it's gonna come out like a pastel-y, probably like sherbet at first, and then as I work the color in more and more through conditioning it and just over the next couple of days, it should be a nice little bubblegum Pepto-Bismol pink. And cramp. Oh, Hobby, thanks for watching. Sorry, I wasn't to the chat. Oh my god, dinner was so good. I'm like almost sad we don't have more. Oh yeah, that's a lot of like lather. Anything. I think that is worked in pretty good. We're gonna let that sit for about an hour. Now for like regular hair dyes that are like box dyes, I don't recommend doing that. I set up my Steam Deck to be able to play anime from Crunchyroll in picture-in-picture mode. That's incredible. What a time to be alive. So with hair box dye, you only want to let it sit for either what your strand test reveals. Yes, I do recommend if you've never dyed your hair before, doing a strand test. And I would also recommend never doing it for 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to use my phone's hotspot for my Steam Deck though. Oof. So with box hair dyes, only recommended on the package, but for hair dye that's like pigment, so like these kinds of things, like Good Dye Young, Arctic Fox, things like that. The way they're set up is they're basically like a deep conditioner, essentially, with pigment in it. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the layman's terms is you're basically putting pigment or conditioner in your hair every time you do it. So it can sit for as long as you want. The longer it goes, the more vibrant and more penetrated the pigment can get. Great. Some people I know will actually put it in right before they go to bed at night and then let it sit all night and then fix it up in the morning. It just depends on what everybody wants to do. But I think it's pretty good. It's gonna be very pale pink. I would probably mix this with like a bright pink to create something almost in the middle, like a not like a Barbie pink, and not like a hot pink. I don't know. It's not a bad color. It's just a little light, and that's okay. That's what it's made. I personally, I should have mixed it with. But I wouldn't mind wearing a lot more pink stuff. I have pink hair, and I like the idea of having like strawberry milk hair. So we'll see how this goes. Join me on my hair journey. All right. Back to the news, and then we'll do soundboard stuff.
And then he passed another law that tackled inflation and the climate crisis. He was trying to answer questions.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna put a timer countdown. Never mind. Okay, it's 6:09, so we'll just say 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I'll check my hair. What it looks like, go from there.
Trying to address the COVID crisis, but also address problems he had long wanted to solve. Outdated infrastructure in our country, the need to do more for the climate. Those were clear questions. That's what they were trying to do. In every case, and more cases than those, presidents identified problems that were impacting huge, broad swaths of the country. And then they worked with Congress to try to solve them. Which brings me to a big, unanswered question about Donald Trump's big, ugly bill. which now heads to his desk after passing by the narrowest of margins this afternoon. What exactly is the problem this legislation is trying to solve? What exactly did Donald Trump and his team sit in a room and think, you know what, we have two houses of Congress, we have the White House, we're going to try to solve this big problem? Republicans have never even tried to answer that question, not coherently at least. But looking what is in the bill, it's pretty clear to me that the problem they were seeking to address is, I guess, that the wealthy in this country have too little and they pay too much in taxes and the poor have too much. It's the only thing that makes sense. And yeah, that question and focusing your big legislative priorities on answering that question is completely at odds with the often repeated theory that Donald Trump is somehow a champion of working people. I mean, we have all, probably everybody watching right now, I definitely do, have all long known that this is a farce. But now, with his signature legislation headed to his desk, there should be no doubt. Trump is no populist. A populist doesn't kick 17 million people off their health care coverage. Populist doesn't take food stamps away from millions of people. Populist doesn't fund a massive immigration enforcement army with a budget bigger than many of the world's
Trump
military.
is a champion of diarrhea. Oh my God. I can't tell you how funny it's been lately. This is slightly off topic. I watch YouTube. When I go into the comments and I see people with JD Vance profile pictures, I don't know if we'll stumble upon one, but it's been very surreal going through the comment section and seeing a profile picture of JD Vance and being like, oh, that's my comment. Wait, I didn't comment on this. I'm surprised there aren't more in these comment sections, but I did see plenty on other people's videos, which, funny enough, like I was watching Nikki Carrion's Shane Dawson video. Oh my God. Please go watch that. Hold on. I gotta share it. It's crazy. She and her partner made a program to find some of Shane Dawson's lost videos. And while they were trying to make that program, they actually found something that allows them to download the video from like the hard source. So everything that Shane Dawson had deleted and it was like gone to time, privated, whatever, it's all back. It's all there. She uncovered all of it. The video is 4 hours long. It looks like a little bit more than halfway through. Hold on, let me say it.
Do like 1 or 2.
I'm at 2 hours and 39 seconds, and the entire video is 3 hours, 55 minutes, and 42 seconds. I love it. But look, here. That's me. There's another one. So 1, 2. Okay, we'll just count 1, not me. 2. There's at least 2. Not counting myself. So I highly recommend, if you are on social media at all, please change your please do not, whatever you do, change your profile picture to JD Vance. This specific team, JD Vance. This specific picture, do not change your profile to this specific picture of JD Vance, or you will get stopped at the airport and sent back to Norway. Don't change it to that one. This all comes, okay, so this also comes from a news article. This. Not a news article. It was a news video by MSNBC the other day. I think I posted it to the Discord.
About 2 weeks ago, a Norwegian tourist named Mads Mikkelsen, who is not to be confused with the Danish actor from the James Bond and Marvel movies, landed in Newark Airport. On arrival, he was detained by immigration agents who demanded access to his cell phone and then denied him entry to the U.S. As one Norwegian news outlet, which spoke to him, reports, quote, Mickelson says that after being warned he could face a fine or even prison, he gave immigration officers the PIN code to his phone. He was then confronted with its contents, pictures the officers found questionable. In particular, a meme of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, portrayed as bald, and a private photo of a pipe. Specifically, Mickelson says the immigration officials objected to this viral meme of the vice president depicting him as a bald baby. This and hundreds like it are all over the internet, as some of our viewers may have seen. Now,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all Vances. It's all different Vances. This one's just him as the state of Texas. This is just his eyeball. Oh my god, this is a pirate? This one gets me right here, the little eye, like he's peeking at you. Oh my god, this one looks like he's trying to be Guy Fieri. Oh my god. Oh, I like this one. It's like a cube. This one, he's missing his eyes. I love the internet. The Vanceyverse. Yeah, it says, we are the Vansleans. Please feed us. This whole situation just got turned upside down. It would be a real shame if everyone had the terrible picture as their profile picture. It takes one eye to realize how messed up it is. It's a picture of One Eye JD. The username is also One Eye JD. Guys, this is getting dark. We really need to lighten up. Oh my, they lightened up the profile picture. Guys, stop using JD Vance's baby face. I'm tired of liking them all. What kind of dystopia are we in nowadays? This is much darker and darker with every day that passes. We need to take a close look at, oh my god, just every one of the ones that are like a picture that equals to what they're saying. I love the internet, man. Love it.
Now, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has responded to these allegations. They say Mickelson was not denied entry to the United States because of this meme you can see on your screen. CBP says that it was over, quote, his admitted drug use. Mickelson says that he told the agency he smoked marijuana exactly twice in his life, once in Germany, once in New Mexico. But not everyone seems to believe that explanation. And if anything, suspected censorship of the Vance meme may have brought even more attention to it, which can happen in cases like this. Yesterday, Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon shared the viral.
The original of this, let me see, the original of this is a tweet where it was like, oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. So this is by David McName 3000. For every 100 likes, I will turn JD Vance into an apple-cheeked baby. This is where it started. Can we see the... No! I don't want to log in. Boo. 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 Log in. I have all my login. Anyway, that's how it started. Now we're here.
Meme of Vice President J.D. Vance on social media. And in fact, that meme, the one you're looking at right here, even made its way to the floor of Irish Parliament.
Oh.
We're watching a major incursion on freedom of expression, unthinkable in a Western democracy. This week, a young Norwegian tourist detained by ICE at Newark Airport and sent back to Oslo. Why? He had this meme on his phone, Minister. A meme depicting Vice President J.D. Vance as a baby.
That is in political record now. We as America might not survive, but that will. That will absolutely survive. That is political record now. Ooh.
Baby. I mean, extraordinary, extraordinary. That a young person with this amusing meme on their phone depicting a public person, that this would be used as an excuse to detain him for 5 hours and then deport him.
People made up like this joke about how, at least as far as I could tell, it was a joke, or like maybe it was the truth and then, or it wasn't the truth and it got twisted into a way that was the truth. I don't know. Propaganda. But people were talking about how like Xi Jinping blocked Winnie the Pooh images because of censorship, but it might have actually been turned out to be because of like racism. Because I don't want to go into it, but long story short, people were using the tiger from Winnie the Pooh as a racial slur against Obama, and were also calling Xi Jinping Pooh in the picture. But that's besides the point. Like, people were saying, like, oh, China bad because that's censorship, that's crazy, but then it's like, this is the United States and we're censoring a meme.
Back to Oslo.
Again, DHS and CBP deny that's the reason. But, you know, just in case they are not telling us the full story here, please, dear viewers, I hope you take appropriate precautions. I strongly recommend that you do not try to cross the border with this meme on your phone, or this meme, or this meme, or this one. There is absolutely nothing funny about having any of these on your phone. We are just looking out for your own safety here.
I want to see if I can pull up that tweet. All right, hold on. Where is it? For every okay. Okay, it was easier when I just typed in Twitter. Now I can't find it. Hold on. Wait, where's copy?
If you've got
Oh.
warm water, apple cider vinegar, and a few pantry staples in your kitchen and you're not using this recipe,
There. Okay. Okay. So, I just wanted to see how much more baby face you got. Oh no. Oh my god, I know a guy who looked just like this. This reminds me of Three Wolf Moon. Starting to think this is how the Norwegian incident began. Proceed with caution, please. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. I had to do that. I had to see where it went. Curiosity knows no bounds. Okay, I wanted to look for sounds for my soundboard today. Because I figured why not, right? It's been a minute since like I've updated it. I have a few things. Um all right. So, this website has like a bunch of stuff for content creators and things like that. Um, it's called Voice Mods or tuna.voicemods.net. We're gonna find some sounds. This is what I have on the soundboard already. So first we have this.
A few moments later.
Got this.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I got voice mod.
Oh, you almost had it.
But
Be
I
quicker
so I
than
have
that.
I think I'm gonna take off you gotta be quicker than that one. Because it's so quiet. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 available slots right now. 4 sounds. So if there's any meme suggestion sounds I should do, please let me know. I usually always just kind of scroll until I find something that like strikes a memory, and then I go. Why is it not? Oh, door knocking one. Like what kind of door knocking? Like a dun 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 like that, or like it's just a knock knock knock. Nah, just a realistic door knocking sound. I think I have that. No. No, I don't have that. I searched one up on VoiceMod one time for my server. Nice. Like it, oh, maybe I'll see if there's like a AOL sound.
Welcome. Goodbye.
Well, we're definitely getting this one. I'm gonna play that when my brain starts breaking. Oh my god, these noises. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You've got mail.
We're gonna download the welcome and the goodbye and the sign on and the sign off. Um hate me. Sometimes that just helps. Rather than going to like the category.
Bruh. Bruh.
Oh god. I'm sorry it's so loud. I got the 2 hours later.
A few moments later.
Why are you gay?
Maybe we should watch like old Vine compilations to get us in the mood, because that's where my sense of humor still is. Also, can I like can I filter it to like shorter sounds? Like I would really like that weren't 45 seconds long. Oh wait, I should find a snidely laugh.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Flame Grill taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup.
This isn't a this isn't a promo.
Bah.
Oh, I thought that said Ben Kenobi. That is not what I that was not what it was.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, I don't want him saying it. I want the, are you sure about that?
Bruh.
People really love the fart meme. I'm gonna look for right in front of my salad. That's something I quote on the daily. Right in front of my salad? Oh, I made the light on my 3DS RGB. That's cool. My hydrangeas is another one. I don't even know where I got that from, but I say it all the time. Oh. Edge. My salsa. Hurricane Katrina. More like Hurricane Tortilla.
Hurricane Katrina! More like Hurricane Tortilla!
I spelled roommates wrong.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
And they were roommates. And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
The loudest.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Oh, I need Bill pills here. Left. Left. We're dead. Oh, that's Bill's death. Is it Bill or is it Francis? You guys see it and I miss it, let me know.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
Oh, I'm gonna save that one. That's gonna come in handy. Don't you worry about that. If I don't find it, that's fine. I already know what sound I want to move on. I should have stopped scrolling when I said I know what thing I want to move on to next. Oh, okay. I was gonna forget.
Alan.
I'm just getting all the things that scratch my brain right.
Hold on to your butt. Hold on to your butt.
Alan's that I love Jurassic Park 3. It is not the best movie, but it has some very memorable things. Like the cell phone. You didn't say the magic
word.
shoot her!
Shoot
Sorry. I literally, some of my vocal stems are just repeating noises I've heard my entire life. Like a 5-hour compilate, 10 hours of Jeff Goldblum laughing.
Welcome.
Alan. I was looking for the Dino DNA one though. Dino DNA. Okay, maybe not. Alright, there was another Hunger Game. It's mahogany. Sometimes I'm always confused as to what, like, some of the stuff that they will just show you that has no relation to what you're looking for. But, like, when you are looking for stuff, they won't add anything extra. Oh, I do still plan on doing that, I didn't realize how intense I was looking at my stuff. I do still plan on doing, like, the Hunger Games deep dive live stream. My dogs ate my copy of Sunrise on the Reaping, and I'm waiting for it to become available at the library. So I can finish reading it. But I have some theories and some thoughts and opinions already, and I'm really excited because I decided to read it in the order that was, like, the first Hunger Games book, the first Hunger Games book, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Sunrise on the Reaping, and then Hunger Games 2, which is Catching Fire, and then the final one, which is Mockingjay. And I'm really looking forward to finishing those so I can really put the pieces together for myself. But it's not that. Maybe it's because I typed in Hunger Game, like, games, so, like, the games is, hmm. What else do I quote a lot? Let's see if there's anything good for fishing.
That's it. I'm going fishing.
I don't know. All right, hold on. Let me see what we got here first. Let me open up my soundboard. All right, file. First thing I want to put in here is oh, I did have a realistic door knocking effect. Alright, first we're gonna do the goodbye. I know sometimes people will be like, I'll see you later, and I'll be like, bye! And then, but now I have a sound for that.
Goodbye.
Next. No, you guys can't see what I'm doing. That's okay. Next, I really wanted the, where's the boomer one? Got a boomer in here.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
That way when somebody does something like very boomer coded, we can call them a boomer. Christ. Or when Blue makes fun of us for being old. Alright, what is next? Hold on to your butts. I will definitely have to, like, change their pictures.
Hold on to your butt.
So quiet.
Hold on to your butt.
Yeah, you can barely hear it. Find a one. Only the one. Alright, so we're not gonna do hold on to fuck. Deleted it. We're not gonna do hold on to your butts. You didn't say the magic word.
You didn't say the magic word.
Sorry if this is the most entertaining. But I have to get background work done or it won't ever get done. I don't know if I want any more roommates on here just yet. Definitely be something I hold. Oh, I'm gonna use my conspiracy theory. Okay, that is gonna be my conspiracy theory noise for when I start, how sometimes I'm just like, hey guys, conspiracy theory time. I believe, uh, like sometimes I'm like, hey, I think conspiracy theory time. Oh, that's the wrong noise. No, that's the right one. I think Elon Musk is inhabited by the spirit of Thomas Edison. Okay, and conspiracy theory time. I think that's a good segue. Yeah. Do I still have the please clap, and is it too quiet?
Please clap. Please clap.
Oh, that's not bad. Let me see, like on the audio. Ah,
Please clap.
pretty good. Could be better if my sound was higher. I think. Yep. Oh well, that'll do for now. All right. So currently, I have 5 more slots available. Oh, and you did it at my birthday dinner.
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner.
I wish there was like a shorter version. Oh, sucking dick and cock. Yeah, that's going right in there. um, um, like YouTube quotes will come up on them. Nope. Trying to type Vine. And I don't want like the Vine boom. I just want like Vine quotes. Are you able to edit like an easy way?
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick.
Sorry, it's so funny. Edit with, okay, I can't edit with clip change.
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking.
I'm gonna shorten it. Won't let me do it there. Edit with Clipchamp. Oh yeah, here we go.
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Cut. Delete. Delete. Delete it. Or it's not a video, it's just audio. Export. There we go. Now, will it let me upload that to here? At my birthday dinner. Downloads. Okay, no. Desktop. No. Document. It saved to videos? Yes, it did. Okay, that's not gonna upload there. Alright, let's try it again. It says edit with notepad. I don't want it to be video. Delete it. Yeah, it won't let me. Maybe, hold on. What if I upload it into Canva? Okay. Town. Um, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that's not How else could I do this? Okay, Windows Media Player.
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Damn, this is old as fuck. This isn't gonna let me or do any. I said burn it, but alright, maybe I won't do that noise just because I want to edit it. Alright, it's 7, so I will have to go. But that's okay. It's just a bunch of vine booms. Just had another brain blast. Oh, because I'm looking under game. Why? Okay. Oh. I was just like, oh, she punched the highlights out of her hair.
Oh, that's actually hilarious. It's called a grind, bro.
Okay, what was the... I was thinking about, like, he punched the highlights out of her hair. Alright, I think that is good. Alright, I'm gonna go rinse this color from my hair and see how it looks. While I do that, let me put on some news for you guys. Just trying to find like a longer video because I know it's gonna take me some. All right. So
We are not a
yesterday, while I was off, I was watching a little bit of Hassan between some things, and he watched this Vine about how like the 4th of July is awful, and if I could find it, I will. But it was really funny. And then almost a lot of the things that Vine touched on happened yesterday. So I just wanted to cover that. I'm gonna let this play. If you guys didn't know, there was a flash flood in Texas, and unfortunately, 18 adults and 9 children are confirmed dead. There are still people missing. A lot of it we were aware of because we watched Ryan Hall, y'all, on Thursday night. Unfortunately, from how we understand it, but this may be corrected as time goes on, they did not receive any kind of notification of any impacting weather due to the fact that there have been cuts to NOAA and other, government agencies that have to do with weather. So, I'm gonna let you guys listen to this. I'm gonna go rinse my hair. I will be right back.
I'm Mayor Joe Herring Jr., Mayor of Kerrville, Texas. I'm glad you're here, and I have a few comments to make. People need to know today will be a hard day. It will be a hard day. This is the message I want to share. The city of Kerrville is thankful. We have help from our city crews, from county personnel, from state agencies, and federal resources, including the Coast Guard. I've been asked how people can help. The sheriff has mentioned that a fund has been set up by the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. Information about this can be found on the city's Facebook page. In fact, if you want to know how to help, I know from my phone, from my texts, from my emails, thousands of people across our state and the world want to know how they can help. The easiest way to get information about that is to follow the City of Kerrville Facebook page. City of Kerrville, City Hall Facebook page. They have done an admirable job of making sure all resources and all information is available, not only to the citizens of Kerrville, but to the citizens of the world. I'm thankful you're here. Today will be a hard day. Please pray for our community. Thank you. Next up is City Manager Dalton Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. Dalton Rice, the City Manager for the City of Kerrville. Just wanted to give a couple updates on operations. Operations did continue through the evening. We use specialized equipment with a lot of helicopters, trying to identify any areas that we could find, heat sources or whatever. So operations did continue throughout the night. Obviously, the water did recede into this morning. I do want to encourage folks with road damage, even though a road may be open, please use extreme caution. If water does get under the road, we are seeing a lot of debris, a lot of asphalt that is washing up, so there could be some other damaged areas. We did start boots on the ground operations about 8 a.m. this morning. And started about southwest of Hunt, so southwest of Camp Mystic. These folks will be traveling very difficult terrain up through Ingram, and we're going to start getting information. So again, as the sheriff had alluded to, the information is changing constantly, and it's going to be changing by the minute. Talked about roads. Don't do your own searches. We know everybody wants to get help. As the roads start clearing up, you're gonna want to get out there. We are in constant communication with families. We're in constant communication with those around, and so we will continue to effortlessly work through working with our partners. Again, we've been working with Border Patrol, Texas DPS, game wardens, federal side, U.S. Coast Guard is here. We want to thank them. Air assets. Again, we have hundreds of state and federal and local resources out here supporting this community. We do have grief counselors out there, so if there's anybody that needs any support, please don't hesitate to reach out as well. We still are operating shelters. Shelters are the same ones that we gave out before. Good news is a lot of the shelters have gone down in numbers, so there's either been those that have been reunited or kind of moving on. A couple of locations we had 18 girls in there that have been reunited with their families. We're down to about 4 that we're working on reunification as well. So reunification efforts are continuously ongoing from the missing person side. Here over the next few hours, we're going to be putting more information out there as far as missing persons, on how to contact if you have somebody that is missing or a loved one. Y'all have the camp number right now. We are continuously working on the other missing person side. The best way that I can sum this up is we have the known, which is the 27 potential missing campers that we're looking for now. The unknown is how many people were here locally, visiting, on vacation, doing other things in the community that we just do not have numbers. So these numbers are going to change throughout the day. And with that, we will take 5 questions.
Individuals, 27, are those all the campers, are those all children? And then also, we know the total number missing that we know of, not the unknown, the knowns of adults and children for the county.
So the 27 missing is the children from Camp Mystic that we have as far as right now for the number. As far as unknown other missing, we do not have an accurate count, and we don't even want to begin to estimate at this time.
Can you expand on that? A lot of community business owners who are living along the river have said they are very concerned the number will go up missing, and they want to know more about how you guys are looking for them, what the efforts are, maybe even some of the challenges. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I alluded to with the operations piece, we have basically a team of about 34 folks from Texas Task Force 1, DPS, game wardens, and Border Patrol that are boots on the ground on each side of the river, starting in Hunt, and they're starting to make their way up. Across this entire area, it's probably about a 17-kilometer stretch. They are going to be in very debris terrain, very difficult, challenging contours along the riverbanks. So it is a very harsh environment. We are doing what's called a primary search, which is basically a very quick search, but when I say quick, that is up, down, sideways. They're turning over as many rocks as they can, culverts, up in trees. They are looking at every possible location, and then we'll start going into a layered approach, or what we also have from the locals, which has been a really great resource. In the floods that we have, there are known collection points where debris tends to collect along the riverbank. We do have intel on what sites and locations those are, so we can also put additional resources into those collection sites and start getting a more focused approach on that.
We've seen a lot of tragic flooding. We've seen a lot of tragic flooding in central Texas over the past few weeks. There are so many people, I know this is so early, but there are so many people already asking what can be done to stop the loss of life. We saw 13 in San Antonio. We have seen an unknown number, but at least 27 here. They're scared. Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's a question that we definitely need to answer at some point in time. Right now, our focus is on the search and rescue efforts, making sure that we get these families out, get some closure, where we can. And so I think that is a great question that we need to ask ourselves, but right now we want to focus on search and rescue operations.
Are there still rescue efforts going on right now?
Yes, we are. We have been in continuous search and rescue operations. Again, this river, even though it started in West Kerr, this goes all the way down through East Kerr County and is continuing on, to the southeast. So yes, search and rescue operations are continuously ongoing, and we'll continue to update on that. One more question.
Where are you finding these folks right now in active rescue this morning? Are they stuck in an island of land? Where are they?
Typically rescues, if we do find them, they're going to be in trees, or we find them, either on high ground. Again, most of the rescues that we are having at this point in time are other camps. So we have a lot of camps, and they are all accounted for, but they are isolated because of road damage. So we know where they're at. We're getting them food, water, resources, and now it's a matter of just getting them safely across, low water crossings or other areas to other shelters. So.
About these kids. We know that there's missing kids, there's pictures and there's names and all this stuff. Are you going to give a list of the names of the kids?
Absolutely not. We are not going to give a list of the names. We want to protect, those families and their information. The other thing I want to point out, and thank you for bringing that up, these families are getting bombarded with spam calls and spam information. So we want to keep the kids' information and these families' names out of any public, light, to give them the opportunity to grieve and to make sure that we give them the best possible resources that we can and get them reconnected as soon as possible. So some of them are, and some of those have been a great help as well. So yes, it is a double-edged sword, but we need to work through it. So our next one will be at 2 o'clock, and we'll give updates then. Thank you.
All right, that briefing coming from Kerrville, Texas, there in central Texas after this horrific flash flooding took place yesterday along the Guadalupe River. And this is a river that is dotted with dozens of summer camps. People come from far and wide in the thousands for their kids to be going to camp along the Guadalupe River there. And we just heard the update from authorities there, including the mayor, U.S. Representative Chip Roy, as well as the city manager, saying that they have 27 recovered deceased now. 18 of them are adults, 9 are children, but 27 remain missing, and they are campers coming from Camp Mystic, one of the many camps along the Guadalupe River there. And the ongoing searches are being conducted. There will be another press conference local time, 2 o'clock, and then again at 6 p.m. there in central Texas. And of course, we'll cover that as best we can and bring those to you as long as we have a good signal. It's a tragedy taking place there, and you heard from the city mayor, who said it's a hard day. He said it several times, and you could feel his agony. This is a very hard day. All right, our Betsy Klein is traveling with the president. Betsy,
my heart absolutely goes out to those families. It's absolutely heart-wrenching. And, like, unfortunately, with the cuts that were made in the U.S. government, sorry, distracted. Never mind.
I was the first one to ever join the military in my family. I knew that I wanted to go back to school.
Cats are out of the bathroom.
This morning.
Shit, I'm sorry. All 3? Did I leave the door open? I might have not shut it all the way because I was back and forth for a minute. Sorry about that. Not sure yet. I think that's what happened. At least 2. Yeah, Sly was under the sink when I was in the shower because of running water. But I don't know. It's okay. I just want to let you know. Thank you. I'll keep an eye out too when I come in.
A woman is finally home in Dallas after spending 140 days in ICE custody. Ward Sukik was born in Saudi Arabia to Palestinian parents. She's lived in the United States since she was 8 years old. She was arrested by immigration officials back in February. She was returning from her honeymoon to the U.S. Virgin Islands with her new husband when she was taken into custody. Now, we reached out to the Department of Homeland Security, who said in a statement, in part, the arrest of Ward Sukik was not part of a targeted operation by ICE. She chose to fly over international waters and outside the U.S. Customs Zone, and was then flagged by CBP trying to re-enter the continental U.S. Following her American husband and her filing the appropriate legal applications for her to remain in the country and become a legal permanent resident, she was released from ICE custody. Well, joining me now is Ward Sukik and her attorney, Eric Lee. Thank you both so much for joining us on this holiday weekend. Ward, I want to start with you. Can you please just tell me about your experience being detained and how you're feeling this morning?
Thank you. First of all, I feel good this morning. I feel amazing being back home, and I'm super grateful to be here. The entire detention process was not great. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. It was very hard, very traumatizing, and very, very difficult, is what I would say to that.
Well, and Ward, can you describe a little bit more? I mean, just what it was like inside while you were detained for so many weeks?
Yes, absolutely. There was not a lot of things for us to do. It was a very lazy, each day was lazier than the next day. You will run out of energy. I didn't have much energy to do pretty much anything. All I had was my husband sending me books, and I would be reading. Once these books were done, send them back, get more books. We did have some Zumba and some dancing classes provided to us. It wasn't a daily thing, but it was pretty nice in the second facility that I was in. There wasn't a lot of people that spoke English in there. There was a lot of Latin women, so it was very hard for me to make a lot of friends. So often I just felt like I was a little isolated because I didn't really speak the language. So again, I was in an environment where I wasn't fully comfortable. And not only that, I was also very scared because it was very different to me. I didn't know why I was there specifically, even though I was asking, and I really wanted to speak to my deportation officer and all that, because I've been abiding by everything and I was complying, and I was just very confused on why I was there, especially when I report every year and they congratulate me on everything I've done or any new updates in my life. So it was just very confusing for me.
Eric, I want to bring you to the conversation. Your client's circumstance, very unique. I understand that Ward does not actually have...
I don't know why she was describing the Zumba classes. That's such a weird thing to bring up. Okay. I didn't 100% want to watch. Hold on.
I was the first one to ever join the military in my family. When I got out, I knew that
As we mentioned earlier, President Trump is expected to sign his signature domestic policy package into law today. It includes new spending, but also new cuts and changes to programs like Medicaid. Many who are enrolled in Medicaid will soon be required by the new law to prove every month that they work, study, or volunteer 80 hours a month. By one estimate, 92% of Americans under 65 who are enrolled in Medicaid are already working. One Missouri mom whose adult son requires round-the-clock care is worried his Medicaid coverage could soon be lost. My NBC News Daily co-anchor and correspondent Zincle Asamoah sat down with her.
For Kimberly Gallagher, the loss of her husband to cancer 6 years ago also meant the loss of her private insurance. It's health care she desperately needs to care for her son Daniel in Kansas City, Missouri. He's had a rare genetic condition since birth.
Well, Daniel's a little different than the typical person with Prader-Willi syndrome. He's lower functioning and he's nonverbal because of the autism.
Daniel is now 31. What does his care look like day to day now?
He requires total care.
Gallagher is enrolled in Medicaid, but new work requirements and President Trump's newly passed One Big Beautiful Bill Act put her at risk of losing that coverage.
You supported President Trump, and this policy has been spearheaded by him. I wonder if it matches what you were expecting or what your hope is moving forward.
No, it doesn't match. But again, I
hate to say this. He did tell us he was going to do it. We all knew he was going to do this. I know the pain I also feel it. But he did say it. He did.
I still have the part of me that wonders if somewhere in that 200 and some odd pages, if there's something that I'm missing that will still protect us.
Around 18.5 million Americans will now be required to prove they work, study, or volunteer no less than 80 hours a month, with some exceptions, according to the Congressional Budget Office.
What's the problem with trying to verify individuals when it comes to their work status and employment status?
I was on the ground in Arkansas when the state tried requirements just like this in 2018, and we saw working people, disabled people, caregivers, all of them getting cut off the program left and right.
The idea of work requirements for Medicaid is not new. In 2023, Georgia introduced similar parameters still in place. And in 2018, Arkansas did the same. Former legal aid attorney Kevin DeLeban filed a suit against Arkansas's Medicaid changes, a federal judge and then the Biden administration ultimately blocking the work requirements. More than 18,000 people lost coverage in that state.
Imagine getting a 10-page letter today that says something that you barely understand, right? Because it sounds like you might be eligible, but you might not be eligible and you're not sure. You're buried under an avalanche of paperwork, red tape, hoops to jump through.
The work requirement change could have a major cost-cutting effect, with $325 billion worth of savings estimated by the Congressional Budget Office.
When you're talking about Medicaid, we need to make sure the program is sustained for the people it's intended for. That's, the elderly, the disabled, young pregnant mothers down on the luck.
Now families like the Gallaghers say they're in limbo. In 2019, Gallagher relinquished custody of her son so she could get paid by the state of Missouri to be his full-time caregiver, a provision under Missouri state law.
Just the act of going into court and, declaring that you're giving up your son. And I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Today, she fears she'll lose even more.
This bill is set to be signed by President Trump today.
Yes.
In the Oval Office. You've supported him in the past. If you could talk to him right now, what would you say?
I want to know what he was thinking.
That sucks. That sucks so much. Like, yeah, she voted for Trump, but they don't deserve this. Regardless of who you voted for, you don't deserve this. That's awful.
Politicians say that Medicaid is not going to be affected except for the people who, supposedly are cheating the system. And it's not supposed to affect the disabled. And so I just want some more guarantees.
The family seeking certainty as the health coverage they rely on is set to change.
Zinkley Asamoah there. Zinkley, thank you. That story, by the way, was produced in collaboration with our partner, KFF Health News.
That's so fucking sad, man. God, I hate this fucking country.
I ordered 200 hand-forged knives to my dorm room and built a Wix website to sell them.
I know that they're saying that they're not planning to cut Medicaid, right? I reached out concerned that if any changes are made, there will be this trickle-down effect that will impact families like mine.
The front lines of the Medicaid debate are right here in Courtney Leader's kitchen.
What is the face of Medicaid, do you think? And is it different than you think some people may assume?
I mean, we are the face of Medicaid.
The Missouri mother of 5 wrote her Republican Senator Josh Hawley to explain how slashing benefits would be devastating to her 9-year-old daughter, Serena, who lives with brain damage and cerebral palsy.
Our private insurance won't cover the formula. It doesn't cover the feeding tube pump. The hit on our budget, it would be over $1,500 a month, just for the formula, just for the pump rental. And those are things that we have to keep my daughter alive. Without that, she's not eating. There's no way to get nutrition into her. So it's really a lifeline for our family for her to have that feeding tube.
Hawley has cited her story, emerging as a rare Republican critic of cuts to Medicaid
And yet he still voted for it.
in rural hospitals, all part of a monumentous tug-of-war over paying for President Trump's agenda.
Oh, there's my beautiful smile.
We came along for the ride, sitting behind Serena's nurse, who's funded by Medicaid, as they drove to weekly therapy sessions, also paid by Medicaid, which more than 1 in 5 Missourians rely on for health coverage.
Being a mom is not political, but this debate is political. How do you navigate the politics of this?
Ooh, how am I? Been rough. Been rough out here on these streets.
As you advocate?
I mean, I just keep consistency. I share the same story to people
Last time we
regardless
talked
of
was
what...
a long time ago. So last time we talked, Trump has been elected. Since then, thousands of people are getting rounded up on the streets, and put into detention centers, whether they are U.S. citizens or not. There is a concentration camp being built in Florida. And 18 million Americans are about to lose their health insurance because that's the bill that Congress decided to pass. So,
side they stand on, we cannot let people like my daughter lose her benefits. And if anybody tells
you're still in the USA, yeah. I cannot currently afford to leave. And because of that, my kids are going to suffer, and it sucks a lot.
That, oh, she's covered, she's protected.
Like, I'm not the only one, you know?
I would really encourage you to say how. What provisions have you made to make sure that those who meet eligibility requirements are covered?
Good morning. How are ya?
Shelley Jones has an infectious smile as she hands out food to a growing number of people in need, as deep cuts also loom for federal food aid.
Do you expect that it's tough for some people to ask for help and come here?
100%. Yeah. But they make it so nice and easy for you and accessible.
We visited Ozark's Food Harvest, which distributes food across 1/3 of Missouri.
What is the demand like for food?
Unfortunately, Jeff, right now,
It's hard to talk about because it's just bad, and I get too emotional, and I get choked up, and I can't talk about it. Because, like, I'm not the only family affected, but, like, we're all feeling it. I don't know a single American who, well, if you're a billionaire or a millionaire, you're not feeling it. But, you know, it's what's happening.
demand for food is quite a bit higher than it was even at the height of the COVID.
Don't apologize. It's not your fault. Like, I just want to be able to feed my kids and make sure they get a good education and have health insurance. I don't think that's a lot to ask for. And now, like, it's all getting taken away. Like, any food programs we're on, they're gone. Health insurance, gone. Early intervention, gone. You know, things that, like, free lunches for school kids, gone. It's awful. It's fucking awful. Something like 70% of Americans didn't want this at all, and they still voted for it because it lines their pockets. And now every day, everybody is going to feel this. There isn't a single person, because Medicaid also funds hospitals in rural states. So, like, people who have Medicaid, like, they're able to get coverage, like, in a lot of places, as well as regular people, because those hospitals are funded. But now that that coverage is gone, those hospitals are gonna have to close. And, like, millions are gonna starve, millions are gonna get sick and die. And then on top of that, they're building concentration camps. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. When will it end? You know?
Crisis. 60%
I hope you're
of the
doing better.
folks that use SNAP or food pantries are from working families, and the other 40% are from seniors or children under the age of 18.
Congress is weighing billions in cuts to food assistance programs like SNAP, once known as food stamps. That will increase demand at already crowded food pantries like this.
How important is this food to you?
Well, it really helps us get through the month, and they have a good variety of things. So, and especially the fresh fruits and vegetables, I really like those.
Your husband got hurt in an accident?
Yeah, he fell between 10 and 11 feet, landed on top of his head, but it kind of changed everything. We were in the process of getting all of our ducks in a row, so to speak, for retirement, and then he got hurt really bad, and it just upside down everything. And so food pantries do that.
Like, there are so many Americans who are one medical accident away from being completely bankrupt and homeless. Well, to be honest, my country have none of those, like, insurance or any stuff like that, so I don't know. We're still alive. Are you, like, able to go to a hospital without, like, having, like, crushing medical debt? Like, I'm talking, like, to have a baby in the United States without health insurance, you're looking at a bare minimum of, like, $1 million just to give birth. Being the anesthetic, the doctors that are needed, the room, if you get an epidural, like, I'm so glad I put on makeup just to cry. Yeah, it's for free in public hospitals, but in private hospitals around $500, $600. Yeah, we don't even have free public hospitals. That's what I'm saying. Like, for any person in the United States without Medicaid, without insurance, it is going to cost you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for a single thing. An ambulance ride is $4,000. So some are more. That is just like the average cost of an ambulance ride to the hospital. We do not have free public hospitals, like, whatsoever. And programs like WIC it's for like women and children, like women who just gave birth, and like children under 5. It gives the parents a little extra money to get things like milk, eggs, bread. Ambulance it should be for free, but if it's free but it's free, yeah, it's not free here. It is not free here. It's millions, it's thousands of dollars. We got a bill not too long ago for one because 2 of our kids had to go in an ambulance ride. So like WIC helps families with low income and children under 5 years old to get food, but after they turn 5, you have to sign up for this program called SNAP. Also gives you, it's called like supplemental nutrition and something, but it basically gives you like an extra $100 a month to get groceries that you need. Like my family gets that because we can't afford our grocery budget. And then on top of that, what about electricity? How much do you pay every month? Hobby can answer that a little bit better, but I know our water bill is like $24 a month. I don't know what electricity is. And then like there's also like the mortgage. And it's not like we're trying to buy groceries that are outside of our means. We're talking like fresh fruit, vegetables, lunch meat, cheese, you know, bread, things like that. Those things are getting cut from people like this and myself who need it. Like electricity, do you know that turn on everything in your... Yeah, I know, electricity. I'm saying I don't pay that bill. I don't see that bill every month. My partner does. But I would assume when I had my apartment, my electric bill was anywhere between $200 and $500 a month. Yeah. So, and that was in 2016. Water and sewer is like 50, electric is 200 to 800 a month, depending on the time of year. Yeah, there you go. My country we pay every 3 to 4 months, and it's around $20, but last time we paid it was 50. Yeah, see, you're already looking better than us. Like, it's so hard. Natural gas is 50 to 600 depending on the time of year. That hurts. That fucking hurts. Fish. Gas here is $1 per gallon. So for car gas, we're looking at about $3 per gallon. I don't know what natural gas is per gallon, but our natural gas bill is between $500 and $600, or $50 and $600 a month. Talking about premium gas? No, I'm talking about regular gas, like regular. If we go to like premium gas, like what you're feeling like diesel with, you're looking at $4 to $6 a gallon, depending on the state. The usual is 50 cents a gallon. Yeah, we're nowhere near that. We have never been near that. Last time I remember, the last gas price I remember that was under $1.50 was when I was in first grade, which was about 25 years, 30 years ago. Like somewhere between 25 and 30 years ago, gas was $1.10 a gallon. And I only remember that because it was the same price as my lunch. But yeah, we rely on our local food pantry, we rely on WIC, we rely on a ton of programs that are getting cut from this. My children will suffer, these families will suffer, there's a lot of people who are going to suffer. And, you know, when I was a kid, it was 20 cents for a premium gas. What's that like? There have been very few times in my life where I felt financially stable. Probably about 2. And most of them have been within the last... In fact, both of them have been within the last 10 years. And after that, I have never known financial stability. I have never been able to afford anything I want, everything I wanted at the grocery store. I have never been able to... You know, I will never be able to buy a house. I will never be able to buy a car. I will never be able to probably go on vacation anywhere outside of the US. Gasoline for cars is over $3 a gallon since 2001 at Hobby. I am from Iraq, so the gas here is so cheap. Yeah. We're on the East Coast. We're in New Jersey, and we have some of the cheaper gas prices because we have a lot of ports. The farther you get from the ports, the more expensive the gas is.
Have helped us through the situation.
Another hotly contested piece of the spending bill is deep cuts to rural hospitals. Inside a maternity ward in Clinton, Missouri, Dr. Jennifer Blair worries for her patients.
Missouri has the 4th largest number of maternity care deserts. We actually are surrounded by several maternity care deserts. That's defined as a county that has no...
The north of Iraq, the gas there is so expensive. It's like $1.50 per gallon, and that's not even premium. Yeah. That's a lot. Like, that's expensive, but like compared to the United States, it's rough. There's been very few positive outlines in the last few months. Since November, it's been very few, and since January, it's been even fewer. But we will endure. I'm just gonna cry a lot.
or very limited access to obstetric services for their patients. If we were to lose that access, the birthing center here at Golden Valley, our patients would have to travel more than 60 miles to receive those services.
And 4 out of 5 babies that are delivered in our hospital are covered by Medicaid. And that's not unique to us.
Craig Thompson is CEO of Golden Valley Memorial. He said many rural hospitals in Missouri and across the country are at high risk for closure.
Is your hope for what happens over the next couple weeks in Washington in this debate?
Well, I think the thing that, again, would be beneficial is for better understanding of who Medicaid serves and what the real Medicaid face looks like. Because, again, I think that's been lost somewhere along the way.
Courtney Leader shares that hope too.
It's not a luxury. This is not a luxury. I do not have my daughter enrolled on Medicaid so that we can have fancy things. I have my daughter enrolled in Medicaid so that we can keep her alive.
What do you worry the most about what could come out of this bill being debated in this new budget? Is it the
I worry about
cutting finances or more red tape, or what do you worry about the most?
I'm worried that the red tape is going to affect our Medicaid because of just the oversight burdens, and that as a result, I'm going to lose my daughter.
Jeff Zeleny, CNN, Springfield, Missouri.
That's sad.
As President Trump tours the new detainment center that he's calling Alligator Alcatraz, we're learning more about one migrant recently held at a nearby South Florida facility. This is 75-year-old Isidro Perez. He's pictured here with his family, the guy with the beard in the background. He's a Cuban immigrant who came to the United States nearly 6 decades ago, likely allowed entry under parole programs for Cubans fleeing Fidel Castro's communist regime. He came to the United States back when he was 16 years old, reportedly working as a mechanic and fisherman. But in June, Perez was arrested by ICE. When his family says that he was sitting at a community center, you can see him here in this photo provided by a family friend, the white beard, his hands behind his back. ICE says that he was charged with inadmissibility pursuant to the Immigration and Nationality Act. He was sent about an hour east of the facility where President Trump toured today to Chrome Detention Center, which in recent weeks has been in the spotlight for moments like this one. Around the time of Perez's arrest, local media captured this demonstration. It's a group of detainees at Chrome standing in what you can see as an SOS formation, essentially asking for help. According to a medical intake completed the day after Perez's arrest, he had been diagnosed with multiple health problems. His former partner, Maria Alanis, told the Miami Herald that the 75-year-old complained of severe overcrowding at Chrome and of there not being enough beds and him having to sleep on the floor. About 2 weeks after entering Chrome, Perez had to be taken to a local hospital where ICE says that he was admitted with unstable angina, cardiac issues that could lead to a heart attack. ICE says that he was discharged last Wednesday, but then the next day he reported chest pains and suffered a medical emergency. Rescue crews were able to revive him and then transfer him to a local hospital for treatment, but a short time later, he was pronounced dead. So why was this 75-year-old man found inadmissible into the United States after being here for almost 60 years? It may be because some 40 years ago in the early 1980s, Perez was convicted twice for possession of a controlled substance. Court records uncovered by the Miami Herald show that in one of those cases, he and another person were stopped on a boat and charged with possession and intent to distribute some 1,500 pounds of marijuana. At the same time, a judge sentenced him to 18 months in prison with 2 years probation. A family member told the Herald that the stint in prison actually gave Perez the opportunity to turn his life around, and he became an excellent person who helped his...
That is so fucked up. He did his time, and yet they're going to throw him into ice custody. Now he's dead. He's straight up dead. Because these fuckers couldn't... I hate
loved
it here.
ones, especially the young ones, learn to swim and fish. In a letter notifying Congress that he'd passed, ICE says that, quote, it remains committed to ensuring that all those in its custody reside in safe, secure, and humane environments. Comprehensive medical care is provided from the moment that individuals arrive throughout the entirety of their stay. Here's the president's border czar, Tom Homan, at the White House when he was asked about Perez's case.
I'm unaware of that. I'm not aware of that. I mean, people die in ICE custody. People die in county jails. People die in state prisons. I mean, if you look at, when I was ICE director.
You're black bagging people off the street and they're dying. Are you fucking kidding? That is so different than being, like, found guilty of a crime and dying in jail. Oh my God. He's like, you know what? I know these American citizens were innocent and I know they lived here for 40 plus years. But they should just die, I guess. They should just Jeffrey Epstein themselves. Like, come on, bro.
That, the question should be, how many lives does ICE save? Because when they go into detention, we find many with diseases and stuff that we deal with right away to prevent that. So I'm not aware of that specific case, but I'll say this. People can argue with me all they want, but the facts are the facts. I think that politicians in New Jersey found this out. that we have the highest detention standards in the industry.
The official cause of death for Isidro Perez is still being investigated. His family, though, has questions, including his stepdaughter, who told the Miami Herald, quote, "I don't understand what's really going on. We're all human. Why are they picking up 75-year-old people?" Joining me now to discuss is Claire Healy. She's an Esserman Investigative Fellow at the Miami Herald, and also John Sandwig, a former acting ICE director under President Obama. Thank you both for being with us. John, with the information that we've gathered on Isidro Perez, do you believe that he was a public safety threat or a national security threat, someone who needed to be removed from the United States?
Boris, no, I certainly don't think he's a public safety threat. I think one of the realities that people don't understand about immigration detention is often two things. One is obviously this administration has taken an approach of detaining everybody. However, even after you're detained by ICE, certain individuals are eligible for bond hearings before immigration judges. But oftentimes that eligibility hinges on how you entered the United States. In this case, he was paroled into the United States, and most likely he was deemed not bond eligible. I think this is a larger issue that we need to look at writ large, and whether you're for immigration detention, for this mass deportation plan, or against it, Republican or Democrat, we all should question, why are we relying so heavily on detention, especially when, it's so much more expensive. It's not necessary, and ankle bracelets have proven to be a very effective deterrent. And the final
I don't remember how much you guys remember U.S. History 2 class, but if one of the things that you should remember is that Germany tried to do deportations of Jewish people first, and of socialists first, and of LGBTQ people, and of disabled, and of physically handicapped people. They tried to do that first. It became too expensive. So then they just started, speed running, murdering people, using Henry Ford's factory assembly line setup, okay? It was really fucking gross. And it is really fucking gross, and I, for one, feel like I'm about to watch that unfold again.
things, it's very hard to operate a detention system that is entirely safe. You're just congregating lots of people in an area where it's difficult to provide medical treatment. And of course, those issues are exacerbated right now by the overcrowding that we're seeing in the ICE facilities.
Claire, I should tell you that I grew up in Miami, and as a kid growing up, you would hear horror stories about what happened at Chrome. It was almost like a haunted house, the folklore that would come out of there. Talk to us about that facility. What do we know about it?
Yeah, so Chrome is located in the Everglades outside of Miami. And around February, we started hearing reports from detainees talking about severe overcrowding, people sleeping on the floor in overcrowded rooms. My colleagues and I spoke with 3 former detainees in March and lawyers for 3 more. And they said that the conditions were extremely unsanitary. You know, people were crowded in these very packed rooms. And one woman who was deported to Honduras said that a group of women were left overnight on a bus. It was so crowded and they were forced to urinate in their seats in shackles. And so we know from what they were describing that this is a facility that was really pushed to its brink. And then we've been hearing similar reports lately. Actually, Isidro Perez, before he passed away, told his family that he had been sleeping on the floor in a crowded room when he first got to Chrome. So we're hearing similar stories now. And when we talk about deaths across the country, there have been 10 in 2025 so far. 5 have been in Florida, and 3 of those 5 were detained at Chrome prior to their death.
I should let our viewers know.
10 people have died, 7 months in ICE custody. Holy shit. That's a lot. Yeah, that's like more than 1 person a month.
That we reached out to Isidro Perez's family. They told us that they were too heartbroken and despondent to speak to us. I wonder, Claire, what you have heard from them and how they're doing right now.
And that we know of, yeah, that's very fair. That's just like, that's a very fair point, because like, people want to say 12 million people died during the Holocaust, but that's what we know of. I mean, the Nazis were very meticulous and loved their paperwork and filing and everything like that, but a lot of stuff was destroyed towards the end of it. Some files were destroyed. Especially once that they knew the Russians and Americans were on their way. And by on their way, I mean they saw them just outside the city. So do keep that in mind.
Well, this is a extremely difficult time for the family. You know, they are grieving. This news is very new. They just found out on Friday from officials, and they are really mourning. You know, Isidro Perez raised a daughter and 6 stepchildren in Key Largo. He was very close with his ex-spouse.
Dude married somebody who had 6 kids. What an incredible human being. I have 5, and I don't know anybody outside of my husband who would tolerate me. Now, granted, we're like we're like a melting pot family. But, no, that's still a lot, even for, like, friends. Like, who wants to hang out, in my opinion, who wants to hang out with somebody who's got, like, a bunch of kids running around doing stuff all the time? Maybe I've just been hanging out with the wrong people my whole life. Who knows?
She described him as a beautiful friend who she spoke to nearly every day. Prior to when he was detained, she would bring him meals. They supported each other over the last 4 decades, really. And they raised these children together, you know, in Key Largo. He taught them how to fish. He taught them how to swim. He, as one of his stepchildren said, really taught them survival skills. And they, you know, as a family, care deeply about him, and this is a really difficult time. And as you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, they have some questions, you know. Mainly they were questions about why he was detained. He had a long medical history, and his ex-wife said that he was raising concerns to her about not receiving his medication before he passed away. So they want to know about that and the treatment before he died. So they do have those questions about what led to his death. They said they were not informed he was in the hospital immediately, and so they have questions about that. I think it's a lot to process. One thing we've been hearing repeatedly from different family members, not the Perez relatives, but other family members, is sometimes they hadn't heard from their relative in weeks. A Canadian man died here at a federal detention center last week, and his family told us they had been trying to contact him and hadn't been able to. And so for these family members grieving across the country, they have questions and really just a lot of mourning, and added on to that sometimes is the fact that they haven't seen their family member or spoken to them in some time.
Please do let us know if they hear from him. Claire Healy, John Sandwich, rather, if they hear from administration officials, I should say, my mistake. Claire Healy, John Sandwich, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
I'm going through the comments and I'm just amazed. A lot of these comments are, almost all these comments are against what happened. So the first one, no one deserves to be treated like this. No one. I was deported back in 2011 after spending almost 40 years of my life living legally in the United States. When I was deported, I prayed to God that I would never return to the United States. I went through hell. Immigration detention centers are worse of the worst. It's inhumane. Today, 14 years after my deportation, I live a better and quality of life, no stresses in my native country, the Dominican Republic. There is life after the United States, and believe me, a much better life. That they did a big favor for me. I'm better than ever, thank God. My deepest condolences to the family. Absolutely shameful. That is horrible. They all have blood on their hands. What is 75-year-old can do? Sad and evil. Devil emoji. The forest was shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe. The axe was clever and convinced the trees because his handle was made of wood. He was one of them. Turkish proverb. Based V for Vendetta profile picture person. Fu Young 7695 or 7695. His birthday is July 6, 1995. why you don't use numbers that you know. I don't believe, or I don't have the words. I'm fighting back tears. I'm hurting. This shouldn't happen to anyone. My heart is broken. All I can send is my love. Y'all don't deserve this. RIP, R.I.P. The mistake of the Cubans cost this man's life. Hopefully you will learn that Trump is not your friend. He didn't die in custody. He was murdered. The Turkish, I'm sorry, not the Turkish. The rich folks own stock in private prisons. Why was he incarcerated at 75 years old after living here for 6 years? Why did the hospital release him? The regime is despicable. They treat people worse than animals. They have no soul. Human is not human. No soul. Oh, Homan. I know him. I've known him for years. Lived in the Keys on a dock and a boat. He had a doggy that was and he was a really nice old man. I remember having a beer with him. My father has known him for decades. He was a mechanic. My grandma lived with his sister. Very nice man, and his sister is lovely too. He was always hanging out at my dad's business, and my dad would give him food. And yes, he used to drink a lot, but he was always a very happy person, and he loved his dog dearly. It's so sad that his last days, he was separated from his dog and his family. Oh. Not the dog! The dogs always get me. Treating people worse than animals, shame on them. He dies of a broken heart taken from his family. A Cuban in Florida, they voted for this. 75-year-old, rest in peace, sir. That man is 75 years of age and has been in the U.S. since he was 16. It's a crime against humanity. How many comments am I down? My condolences. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I don't think Fox News will show this case. This is elder abuse. The World Cup soccer needs to be moved out of the U.S. due to human rights violations. Immigrants are not treated with due process. Deport and treat with respect. What is the reason for taking the elderly? It makes no sense. Let the old live out their last days in peace. The Cuban exiles voted overwhelmingly for Trump. Likely hundreds have died, and tens of thousands will die. Stay in Cuba would have been much wiser. The bodies keep piling up. Human rights violations are egregious. If there are not enough beds, stop detaining. So close! So close! So this Cuban detainee and Elon Musk isn't. Oh, this Cuban is detained and Elon Musk isn't. Makes no sense. Or make it make sense. Unfortunately, Cubans felt they were much better and voted for this to happen. This is why Cubans supported and voted for. They voted against the guy and this guy's interest, and they have the nerve to be anti-black. They can figure this out themselves. No, that's not a good perspective to have. Are they effing kidding me? He is 75 years ago. I just can't anymore. This ICE needs to be held accountable. Convicted criminal? So is the president. Huh! Huh! These Cubans have no rights to complain. No right to complain. They do. My deepest condolences to the family. Another person has died. What the hell are they doing, these people? Look at this. Look how far down I am. I've never seen Newman. YouTube comment sections like this. Sorry, I have to adjust my shorts. Okay. Here we go. Like Tangled. Anyway, I've never seen this many YouTube comments agreeing with a video. Like, maybe it's all AI, who knows? But it is very, kind of wild. Okay. I saw another news thing. Oh, so I posted this in, I saw, and I think we covered, Moist Critical talking about Stop Killing Games, or maybe I watched that on my own, who knows. But Stop Killing Games, I'm Let me see if I can just find... So, this is kind of where it started about 12 days ago with Accursed Farms. They are running some kind of initiative. I'm going to let their video explain it to the best of ability that I can. And then we're going to, you know, move on from there. And hopefully, after hearing some of the points they make, you'll also want to support Stop Killing Games. But it's become a whole big issue. And I want to talk about it a little bit.
Hello.
I'm going to pin the video in the chat. Oh, wrong one. Alright. Why I subscribe to this channel? Okay. Well, I am now. Alright, you should too. Take a moment. Go over and subscribe to the channel if you would like. I think this initiative's pretty great. If I had the financial ability to support it, I would. So instead, I'm going to use my platform to share this information with other people so that they can hopefully support it in my stead.
This is probably the final update to the Stop Killing Games campaign. Though I'm coming at you a little bit like a time traveler would. It'll make sense in a minute. As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers. Now, we've gone about this in many ways, but it's easiest to divide this up by things we've already done and things we can still do, because there's about a dozen things we've already done. Yeah, in fact, here's a list if you want to pause.
I'm going to pause it.
This.
Okay, so Stop Killing Games campaign has done. Got one side action and one side result. The action: submit complaints to European Consumer Centers Network from multiple countries. Results: dead end, no consistency at all from offices, was redundant at best. Submit a petition to Canadian Parliament on the destruction of games. Dead end, said the Providence will have to deal with it, which are too small to impact the industry. Make contact with the BEUC to influence the EU Commission. Ongoing. Submit complaints to the DGCCRF on the crew. Oh wait, I skipped one. Submit complaints to the This is German. Either German or it's some kind of Baltic, not Baltic. What's the word I want to use? Like it's like somewhere around like German. I think it Verbrochner Trail. I don't know. The crew. Issue escalated to an agency, decision pending. Submitted complaints to the DGCCRF on the crew. Issue escalated to the highest level of the agency, decision pending. Contact the UFCQ connoisseur on the crew, ongoing. Submit complaints to French legal mediators on the crew. Still processing, will likely get deferred to the DGCCRF. Submit complaints to the ACCC on the crew. Issue escalated to the agency, decision pending. Submit a petition to the Australian Parliament on the destruction of games. They said they won't act. The ACCC should be contacted instead of games. Ask questions of the EU Commission on the destruction of games. Said there could be a violation, but it is to be handled through the member states. Initiate a lawsuit in Brazil on the crew. Failed due to us requiring sales figures on the crew in Brazil to proceed, which we don't have. Submit complaints to the FTC chair on the crew. No response, but this was expected. Yeah, I agreed. It's definitely expected.
Going over this again will be a video in itself. I'll talk more about some of this towards the end. So that just leaves things we can still do, which are only 2 items. One is for the UK to sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament. Though, keeping it real, I'm not terribly optimistic about this one, since the government response has been a mess by every definition. It's a long and boring story, but the short version is it's hit a bureaucratic roadblock and will stay stuck unless it gets more signatures. But the one that has a lot of power, so much so I think it could change the course of gaming history, is the European Citizens Initiative. Now, I said I'm approaching this like a time traveler because with the trajectory we're on,
Stop killing games. Oh, okay.
These are both going to fail. So I figure, why wait until they actually do to tell people? Both the petitions end in July. The Citizens Initiative in particular on July 31st. This video probably won't change the timeline. It's just a last-ditch attempt to wake people up on it. The European Citizens Initiative failing kind of stings. Again, this one is crazy powerful, but the hurdle we just couldn't get past was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries, and we've only made it just under halfway. That's really too bad, because I have high confidence this would have solved the problem of publishers destroying video games. Now, why do I say that? What a lot of people don't realize is that in the EU especially, it's almost a state of lawlessness regarding the practice of game destruction. Okay, I don't want to put people to sleep here, but the quick legal argument is that the vast majority of games with an online requirement say they can be terminated at any time for any reason. Or Blizzard likes to say any or no reason. But according to the EU Commission, that might be a violation of Directive 93/13 EEC, which protects consumers against unfair terms in consumer contracts. So if that term is unfair, that means that part of the contract is null and void. And if it's null and void, then what does the law say about how long your purchase lasts? Well, it doesn't. That's the whole mess. So if there are no legal guidelines, what are consumer expectations for how long video games last? Well, indefinitely. Even the average online multiplayer video games from the 90s can still work today if you didn't change the hardware or software.
Yeah.
So the law wasn't written for this situation. The industry's terms might possibly be illegal, and traditional expectations are games last indefinitely. Now, of course, publishers can't support games indefinitely, but by not giving expiration dates or end-of-life plans, that might be the situation they've put themselves in. I cannot emphasize enough what a mess this is. If you were an impartial judge just trying to interpret the law, you'd have a headache. I don't know what you would do. You'd probably tell the EU Commission they need to make a law on this because this is a glaring omission. So being in the middle of this quagmire right now, if we had rolled up with 1 million signatures demanding that the EU give us basic consumer rights for video games, that would have been the easy way out for regulators, because then they would have a mandate. That's what I meant about my half-joke slide about politicians liking easy wins. This situation is such a mess that trying to settle this under existing law is more work than creating laws under a consumer mandate. And thanks to the action we pushed at Consumer Protection Agency,
This isn't on them, but like, why is he off to the side of the screen? Oh, probably because he's gonna put things here. But oh my god, it's so distracting. Because I'm like, there's so much, like, because this is here, and then like this is here, and then this is over here, and his shirt is black, and it's too much. Too much. I'm so weird.
Doing nothing is no longer an option for multiple countries. We've made sure of that. But none of that matters because the initiative is failing. Now, my original thought was that ironically, it's difficult to get gamers to care about games because a whole lot of people are cruising at maximum apathy these days. But I think it's more than that. For most of the past year, the initiative has bounced back and forth between being the third and second most popular active initiative in the EU. The only ones that topped it were far more serious social issues. So that says to me, the problem isn't getting gamers to care about games, it's getting people to care about anything. And frankly, that is a checkmate move. If people can't care enough to write their name on a form to protect their rights and stop things they care about from being destroyed, then yeah, I can't do much with that. I am not a Care Bear that can shoot light out of my stomach to make people give a damn.
Most of the time people want like an invitation and stuff. Like unless you personally invite somebody, they will not show up. And sometimes they won't show up even after you've personally invited them. I'm one of those people. I'm both those people at the same time. Sorry, distracted. But like I noticed it too at the game store, like unless you like actively went out of your way and told somebody that hey, this like thing's happening soon, most of the time they would not want to come to it, or they wouldn't like, they would be less likely to come.
Plus, it's hard to know how many people don't care and how many never knew about the initiative in the first place. It's certainly not for a lack of trying. I have tried to push this everywhere I can, though I'm an amateur at all of this. I have a medium-sized YouTube channel for making comedy videos involving gaming. That's it for my advantages. Now, I've tried to leverage this to push the initiative, get as much help as possible, but I've never been great at marketing and networking, you know, stuff you need on a campaign. Yeah, in fact, I never wanted to do any of this. I've been beating the drum on the problem of game destruction going on 10 years now, but the problem only got worse and worse and nobody was doing a damn thing about it. So when the opportunity to do something finally presented itself in the form of the biggest game shutdown from a European company, I pounced on it as hard as I could. So I've hated doing almost every aspect of this campaign and will be very happy for it to end. But I would have hated myself even more if nobody stepped up to do anything. So in light of that, I think our exposure has been phenomenal. We've gotten a lot of support or just fair coverage from major...
Why is this slide blank on purpose? Did I break something?
...has been phenomenal. We've gotten a lot of support or just fair coverage from major YouTubers. Some ordinary gamers, Young Ye, Louis Rossman has been a bro especially. Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, Game Linked, Philip DeFranco, Asmongold, Black Panther, Second Wind, including Yahtzee and the other Frost, Spawn Wave, Civi 11, Mandalore Games, Bellular News, Digital Foundry, Josh Strife Hayes, Tech Tangents. Honestly, it goes on and on. I'm leaving out a lot of people. My apologies on that. We've gotten game news outlet coverage. PC Gamer, IGN, Rock Paper Shotgun, Kotaku, TechSpot, Eurogamer, PC Games N, Destructoid, Game Rant. There's more. And regular news outlets, Metro, Euronews, Variety, Forbes. Also many non-English outlets for France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Hungary.
That's incredible.
There's a lot. And some developers. Running with Scissors, Landfall Games, Mala Industria Games, Octay, those awesome guys, and developers of emulators like Dolphin, PCSX2, and PPSSPP, and some more indie developers I may have lost track of, I'm sorry. And this last one is hearsay, but it's my favorite if true. Developers from Ubisoft Ivory Tower, the people who made The Crew, which is the game we used to get all this action rolling in the first place. Yeah, it turns out a lot of developers who spend years of their lives working on something don't like seeing it destroyed by publishers. Who'd have thought? And I've been saying yes to almost all offers for interviews, questioning, or any kind of outreach opportunities that came our way. I honestly don't know how many interviews I've done on this issue at this point. It's easily dozens, though not all of them were on video. One was even for BBC Radio. And then there would be the spontaneous offers that would pop up throughout the entire campaign. Like working with members of European Parliament to push through questions to the EU Commission, having meetings with the BEUC as another route to the EU Commission, meetings with representatives from GOG. That one was looking promising until they fired the representatives we were talking with, then backpedaled. That sucked. Meetings with representatives from Heineken. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Heineken, of all companies, supports the initiative.
Wow. I bet people who make Heineken beer also really love community video games and are really, really irritated that they can't do LAN parties anymore. Remember LAN parties?
Initiative, because it ties in well with some gamer lounge campaign they have going. That one was going to be a huge boost for us, but they ended up having to postpone it a year, which is too late. I've had meetings with Fudo, F-Camp. Probably the funniest of these was another member of European Parliament who is also on the Committee on Culture and Education. Their staff reached out to me, set appointments, canceled, then kept having to reschedule 3 times. And this is all on top of the day-to-day outreach, organizing, and just basic communication with God knows how many people. Again, I've hated doing this because I have to fight all my instincts not to bother people. I hate being a pest, but you kind of have to do some of that when campaigning. At this point, I've written a couple thousand emails connected to the campaign, trying to do outreach, research, and just keeping things together. I haven't done that much on Twitter because I don't have much of a presence there. Same goes for Reddit. Yeah, Reddit. I received so many reports of promotions of the initiative being deleted. And some of the ones that stayed up are some of the most hostile to the initiative that I've seen. Yeah, isn't Reddit just a wonderful place to be nowadays? We did get a Discord launched where people could independently organize, so I wouldn't be bottlenecking anything if others had better ideas on what to do. I believe currently they're trying to contact TV stations about this in Europe, something I never would have had a clue how to do. That's exactly the sort of thing I was hoping would emerge. Yeah, I really want to emphasize that from the second the initiative launched, nothing had to go through me. It's been there, in public, this entire time, with easy multilingual guides at StopKillingGames.com. We blazed a trail to make it easy for others to act on this, but that wasn't enough.
That's a lot for one person to handle. Like, a lot. Like, I am very impressed with everything here, because that is more effort than I would have done. Especially by myself.
So it feels like I've been running a rickshaw carrying people to the destination to save games, except it's breaking down halfway. The work on this has never stopped. I never wanted my involvement on the campaign to last this long. I kept hoping after launch, somebody with more reach and better at campaigning could just point people to the destination and get it done. But no, I've had to keep hauling that rickshaw. Not every week, but there have been many weeks on the campaign where I've been working 12 to 14 hours a day to keep things moving to get signatures. And the only way I was even able to do that was to burn some of my savings.
Hold up. I want to post the link signature. Oh, it's for UK and Europe. I don't think any of my UK and Europe people are here. But if you are, I would go to the video then. Okay, I'm just gonna link their website in the chat. Ah! I made it too big. End of hide for myself. Oh, that's the website.
Put everything else on hold. I've been kind of stupid about this because it's our only shot. Again, this is an amateur effort. That means there's no staff and no salary. So if I need help with something and ask a volunteer to help with it and they disappear on me, well, then they disappear on me and I need to do it myself. Or if I can't, then I need to hunt down someone else to help with it and hope they don't disappear on me. Meanwhile, my channel has been suffering, as my viewers can tell you. I'm stretched too thin. Now, I have been maybe fairly criticized for not running a fundraiser for this. There are reasons for that. The first is, until recently, I didn't know where we would spend it. People would say, buy ads, but the initiative could be considered political. And YouTube doesn't allow political ads in a lot of EU countries. And neither does Twitch. Good luck reaching gamers without YouTube or Twitch. So taking money with no plan, that's a grift. And another reason is I am one of the worst people to manage that sort of thing. Financial paperwork is an Achilles heel of mine and seems to take me 10 times more effort than anything else. I mean, I can do accounting, budgeting, math, that's not a problem. No, I mean having knowledge of all the obscure forms you need to fill out, what all the tax laws that apply are, what all the specialized terminology is, and just all the hidden rules. Now you might say just hire an international tax accountant for multiple countries.
It's not that
okay,
easy.
there goes a third of our funding then. So what are we even doing? I cannot emphasize how much I struggle with financial business crap like that. So the thought of me putting together a fundraiser for what might be considered a political fund that needs to adhere to laws in multiple countries, and if I make a mistake that could be considered a crime? Oh, no. That's like asking somebody with severe dyslexia to write a book report on war and peace. I am the wrong person for that job. But I've still been trying, to the best of my ability anyway. I didn't discover this until late in the process, that even though general ads were out, sponsored messages were still an option for some countries. And some mysterious benefactors emerged offering to pay them directly. But that means I needed to find all these channels and broker all these deals. So as a last-ditch effort, I've been looking through hundreds of targeted non-English gaming channels trying to find good candidates for this. Then work with bilingual liaisons for each language, then try to put together a contract and figure out what a good offer is for the amount of views we expect. I am so out of my depth on this, but I'm still trying. That
is so much work. I can barely make a doctor's appointment for myself. This is absolutely incredible. This is another breed, man. Another breed.
I browsed through more clickbait AI-generated thumbnails than I have the entire rest of my life. I honestly can't decide which part of the campaign I've hated the most. Acting as an advertising broker, not knowing our budget or what's a good offer, or trying to research laws governing this practice that don't exist, except I didn't know that at the time. So how are these sponsored ads going? Are they going to get us the signatures? As of recording this, I don't know. It's a Hail Mary pass as it is. I'm just going to assume it won't, and I'm completely spent on ideas on how to get more signatures. I did everything I possibly could to make this campaign work. It wasn't enough. Or rather, I did everything that made sense to me. I did receive a lot of suggestions of things I do not think would have worked. A bunch of people told me to make short-form videos on this. I tried that. They got a fraction of my usual views. I've been told make more videos on my channel saying the same thing. But lots of views on my channel doesn't help if it's all the same audience.
Yeah, fair point.
Because people can only sign once. We have to reach new audiences. I've been told become a full-time streamer. I might consider it if I thought it would work, but I don't. I've been told I should have made a bigger deal about countries crossing minimum thresholds. Well, I didn't want to celebrate that because that's an arbitrary number. They're the minimums. All that really matters is that 1 million number, and we're a long ways away.
That's fair.
Now, another
That's
suggestion
a fair
has been to
point.
make a plea to big gamers, like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, Markiplier, anyone like that. Well, yeah, I think that might be a great idea. Our biggest obstacle in the campaign has always been getting enough exposure, and they have exposure. I think any one of them could end this with one video and change gaming history. Problem is, I have no idea how to reach any of them. Plus, I can understand if they might shy away from this. First, they're probably busy people. But second, they may not want the kind of heat that comes with changing gaming history, even if it's for the better. And third, if they back this, then 1 million people might mob them to back something else, and then there's no end to it. So I actually can understand.
Those are very fair points because, like, when you open the door to stuff, sometimes it's really hard to close it. You know, you can't put the toothpaste back in the horse. So, like, it's just, it can be very overwhelming to do those things. And, like, even with regular stuff, like, you know, if you have an employer that's like, hey, can you stay late? And you go, yeah, just, sure, this one time. And then all of a sudden, they're scheduling you later and later. And then somehow you've lost all of your daytime hours to working a shift you didn't originally sign on for. So, like, I totally get that.
I understand some people wanting to sit this out.
Toothpaste in the horse. Yeah, instead of, like, toothpaste back in the toothpaste or the shit in the horse, I went toothpaste in the horse. I know how much you love my metaphors. What's that one? Shaking my head. Where is it? No, that's the wrong button.
Please clap.
Baseball. You can't lead a fish to water. No, not that one. A ghost fish. Ooh. Wait. What is that thing I say? Where you literally were like, I don't understand your metaphors sometimes, but they are adorable. What was that? Ah, it's gonna bother me. God, you should publish a book of your mixed up metaphors. I really wish I could remember that one. I'm not sure if it would be loved or cringe, but it would be something. That'll be my those will be like at the start of all of the chapters of the whatever biography somebody writes about my life. Those are going to be quotes at the top of each chapter. I can't remember. It's really going to bother me. I'm going to sit here and think about it for a minute.
I mean, yeah, it really sucks that we can't get enough attention on this badly needed change in the games industry, but I'm not shocked either. Honestly, I'm already punching way, way above my weight class on this. My main promotion video for it got a little under 250,000 views, and about 15% of my audience is from EU countries who are eligible to sign. So that means I shouldn't have expected much more than 30 to 40,000 signatures from my audience, and we're over 10 times that. It's almost like a lot of people out there don't like having their games destroyed. Anyway,
like a bull crossing the road in a knock-knock joke. I don't think it was that one. Or, I don't know, like... I feel like it started with a, you can't, but like... I'm trying to remember so hard. It is so painful right now.
Most of the criticism I've seen for how I've run this campaign kind of...
I don't remember it, but I made that up on the spot. That's how the you can't lead a fish to water. That was just on the spot.
That comes down to be more popular. Yeah, sure, maybe everybody else knows how to do that. I don't. I kind of view that critique as similar to don't be poor financial advice. And that's from people who support the campaign. For all the support and fair coverage.
It hurts my neurodivergence. It's like an anti-tickle your brain, you know? It makes you, instead of making your brain go brrr, it makes your brain go brrr, 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 brrr. Wait. Instead of you making your brain go brrr, it makes your brain go... Nails on a chalkboard sound. I had to look at my soundboard again. I'm trying to remember where the buttons are.
We've received, there's been some opposition too. Though I want to say 80, maybe even 90% of people who are against the initiative are against it because they think it's doing something it's not. For example, the #1 criticism about the initiative that we've never been able to shake is that it's unworkable because you can't expect publishers to support games forever.
Instead of making my brain go brr, it makes my brain feel like it's being eaten by a small insect with small mouths. Oh no! Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, we know. That's why we've never asked for that. I must have said this 100 times now. It was written on the website from day one, but this keeps coming up over and over again. See, that's the thing. As soon as you say 3 words on requiring end-of-life plans, gamers especially will jump to some conclusion, and I never know where they're going to land. Ironically, non-gamers tend to be much better at understanding the initiative.
I was gonna say end-of-life plan for a game sounds to make sense for... Sounds to make sense. Breath. Okay. It makes sense to me because, like, let's take a game like Animal Crossing, right? They did a bunch of updates, but they weren't really kind of... I guess Animal Crossing is not like a huge... Maybe it is, because if the servers go offline, you can't really visit each other. And they keep, like, making it impossible to play their older games. Like, unless you have a copy of Pokemon Red, or like a 3DS or a DSi, it is very hard to play Pokemon Red, Yellow, and Blue. And even sometimes Pokemon Crystal. You have to have, like, the hardware to play those things nowadays. And, or like an emulator on your computer. But, like, to have, like, the original format, you know, unedited. And that's because Nintendo just doesn't care, even though they would make a butt ton of money off. But games like Fallout 76, like, there is gonna be a point where, like, the servers shut down because it's not making enough money. And, or because, you know, Bethesda goes out of business or whatever. So what happens to those games? So I do think that's, like, a fair question, but I also understand that, like, some games do have, like, an ending. And, like, that's okay. Like, sometimes if you feel like your multiplayer is complete and everything's good, or even, like, your regular game that needs, like, updates and DLC, like, being in regular communication is really good. Also, being able to shut down and brick someone's system is gross, and I hate that. I hate the fact that we don't own our consoles anymore. What the fuck is that shit?
Initiative, because they're not coming with a whole back.
So you're telling me you, the gaming company, leased your Xbox to Toys R Us, and then Toys R Us then sells that lease to us? Is that what's going on? Please someone make it make sense. If purchasing isn't owning, piracy isn't theft. You know what? I feel like that's not illegal to say.
Bag full of assumptions. A couple other criticisms are how this would violate copyright law by forcing publishers to give up their intellectual property. No, it wouldn't. Some of you may want to pause this part.
It's really long. The initiative would conflict with copyright laws for 2 reasons. The consumer would have no additional rights beyond what they are sold. First place, the ability to run a copy of the publisher's game. The only difference between now would be the publisher would no longer be able to permanently revoke the license without any fault of the customer, i.e. hacking, online cheating, etc. 2, because the initiative focuses exclusively on the outcome, the working
Or
game
how this
is not the methodology for doing so, source code, server binaries, etc. No specific demands for any intellectual property are being made to the publisher. This leaves full discretion to the publisher in how they wish to manage their intellectual property. While the publisher may deem it to be necessary to release more intellectual property to fulfill the requirements of letting the customer retain a copy of their game. The initiative is not specifically mandating that.
Won't work because of end user license agreements. That's also not a problem. Or how this isn't possible because publishers already have agreements with other companies and don't have the rights to distribute that code. We're aware of that. Yes, the initiative is still possible. Those are the ones I've seen most organically. Beyond that, there is a clear patient zero where others come from. Okay, I really don't want to do this next part, but it's become a liability for the campaign for me not to. Our biggest critic by far is YouTuber and streamer Pirate Software, who goes by Thor. If your only exposure to Stop Killing Games has been this video, then you've been misinformed. This video is by someone who does not understand the campaign, has been trying to stop it, and has been making up what it is about. I am not saying that lightly. I will prove it in a minute. Now you might be thinking, okay, so some YouTuber got something wrong on the internet. So what? See, that was my thinking too. The problem is how incredibly influential this YouTuber has been. Remember that list of coverage on the campaign? Well, best I can tell, Thor's coverage has been bigger than literally anyone else on those lists, except Asmongold. And the only video Asmongold had on this bigger than Thor's was about Thor's video. So for all practical—
No! No! Oh my god. This that is absolutely going to be so detrimental, because if Asmongold was reacting to positively to a pirate or Thor or whatever their name is was saying, then it would basically kill any chance of oh my god, that sucks. That fucking sucks, man. This is what happens when you live in an echo chamber. Good things end up dying because bad people report it wrong and don't know enough, or don't read well enough, or don't understand it enough.
Practical purposes, Thor here has been the #1 voice on the campaign, and he's been lying about what it is. That's a bit loaded though. In this case, I'm using the second definition of lie. I have no evidence it's the first. This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. This put me in kind of a no-win scenario too, because if I ignored it, then a lot of people were going to get misinformed about the campaign. But if I did a response video, which is not something I wanted to do anyway, then it might look like drama farming, which could understandably turn off a lot of people from the campaign, because it's not about that at all. So I quickly made this video trying to clear up all misconceptions and concerns about the initiative, with timestamps for everyone's questions, hoping the truth would eventually come out. I can see now that was a mistake. I should have just embraced the drama. To this day, I'm still getting frequent comments and emails about the same falsehoods about the campaign that originated in this video.
That's awful.
Well, now I have nothing to lose. If we don't get the signatures, then none of this matters anyway. So if this campaign is failing because of me not talking about this, then I'll at least correct history here on the way down.
Based.
I'll get this over with and go over what I think are the biggest points of Pirate Software's videos. I'm not going to go over everything because collectively Thor has made hours of video on both me and the movement. I'd be here forever. Believe me, I could address smaller things too, and kind of already have. All right, let's start. Okay, point number 1. Thor does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
The surgeon's name is Joel.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. This is what I mean. It's harder for gamers to understand this because they come with so many assumptions. It's like that saying about doctors being the worst patients. So let's clear this up. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative. Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. The long version depends on what kind of transaction is being made. As you can see, it's not easy to explain in a soundbite. But if you notice, we don't make a distinction between single-player and multiplayer games. That's because the law doesn't either. So why make this even harder?
Yeah,
Both
agreed.
the movement and the law are making distinctions on how games are sold. Also, that part he said about it affecting all live service games, yes and no. It would affect most live service games in the future, but the initiative is not retroactive. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single player. Once again, he made that up, and I have no idea why he thought that.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the...
But it says what the initiative will not do. Require publishers to give up intellectual property rights. Require publishers to give up source code. Require endless support. Oh my god, no.
The entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No. This one is particularly baffling to me because I've heard most counter-arguments before. But until Thor, I've never heard this one. That we want the industry to convert all multiplayer games into single-player ones. I keep saying it, you never know where gamers are going to take this.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact...
No. Oh my god, nothing he wrote is vague. Everything that we've seen displayed in this video has been extremely thorough and well written and well researched and like well communicated and like nothing has been vague at all. I have understood like most of it. I'd say most of it.
He never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for. But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future...
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
And there are some people that'll say, well, just make it all single-player.
Like
well,
you?
I've explained that doesn't make any sense in the first place. If you're making it all single-player, you'd have to carve off all of that, and it's developer time and money. These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it.
But those aren't the ideologies. Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single-player.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Yeah, so why does he keep bringing it up? This is a total red herring.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now.
Yeah.
We're not against them existing. We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer. Just use logic. If we didn't like them in the first place, why would we care if they're being destroyed? He says he gets it, but he doesn't.
Let's talk about the actual bad business practices. In the case that a studio is making a live service game and they sell it to you as a product, they say that you are purchasing the game or you are buying the game, when in reality you're actually purchasing or buying a license to that game. I think that we should be fighting about that. The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically. It's trying to say that all games need to stay in a functional, playable state.
Yes!
Which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically.
Okay, I don't know if he's doing this intentionally. I'll be charitable and assume he's not. But this is some serious obfuscation. He's complaining that the initiative isn't focused on another topic he made up. I mean, what is that logic? Hey, the initiative doesn't address how Capcom changed the look of Dante in the Devil May Cry reboot either. That may as well be what he's saying there. I am not aware of a game on the planet with a...
He has these like little jokes in there that are so good.
license agreement that says you are not buying a license. Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people. Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely. This needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those. The games industry is trying to upend basic commerce.
Yeah.
I think you have to go back to feudalism before neither of those things are true. Why even have consumer laws if you have no rights?
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no!
No, I know what he's saying is, hey, I don't care if this game ends, but the user needs to know what the final outcome will be when it does, like what will happen when this does go offline, how long before it will go offline. That way they can make a well-informed purchase decision rather than, you know, them buying a game and then immediately shutting down after it was immediately opened. Like, we're talking like a game was live for like a few hours.
He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out. I admit, guys, this part hurts. To see the biggest voice on this issue get it wrong again and again and again, then put that same wrong information on blast to a far bigger audience than we can reach. It hurts. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand what we're asking for. Now, to be fair, it sounded like he was getting a little closer in this video. Yeah, despite being called 2, it's at least the 4th video he did on this.
You want that to stay in a functional, playable state. That means the devs have to release either server binaries or somehow carve off the game to be a single-player experience now.
That's better, but he's still talking about converting the single player right to the end. He never completely got it. So Pirate Software did not understand the initiative. Maybe still doesn't. That means the majority of his critique is about things it would not do, like kill all MMOs.
If that passes, enjoy never playing an MMO again for the rest of your life. And taking away from every other person that plays MMOs.
It really wouldn't. And I've
Okay, so he has explained a lot of Pirate's points. He has explained what the initiative is. We understand what the initiative is. And, you know, we understand what it will and will not do, and that is it is in trouble. So then a few days go by, and Moist Criddle, brain broke. Where's that? Wait, what was the noise I got for brain when my brain breaks? Oh, it was the, oh, I didn't upload it yet. All right, I'll do it later. But anyway,
I think it's time we talk about a really important thing that is going to affect a lot of us and is affecting a lot of us who are into the gaming space, which is the Stop Killing Games initiative. I know a lot of people have been asking me to talk about it for a while. In the beginning, I was like, this is a cool initiative. Sign the petition and everything, let it do its thing. Apparently, it's not going as well as people wanted to and as it should be doing. They're about 700K signatures into the million that they need as of recording this video. And I did make a post about it on the community tab to try and like push it in a different direction on my main channel. The reason I'm doing a video of it here on the Spadicy channel is I don't know what's going on. There's something happening with the algorithm in terms of my channel right now. I've seen it happen to some other channels of similar size to mine, where after I did Schedule 1, for some reason, I hate to say like, oh, the algorithm's against me and they flipped a switch and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes it really just does feel like that something happened under the hood. It's happened in the past multiple times. I've talked to some other YouTubers about it. Everyone just seems to be like, hey, my views just disappeared. Like my main audience aren't getting any of my videos anymore. What's happening? I don't know. It's hard to talk about without it seeming like, oh, bro, you fell off. You're washed, whatever. So I just tend to kind of like stay away from it, see what happens, see what shakes loose, and then get back to uploading again. Something's going on. I don't know what's happening. So to not upload this in a place where the algorithm is in flux for a channel of that size, and again, not knowing if this is actually going to go out to any of the people who are there. Death Stranding went up. Clearly, it's not being served to the people who would normally watch it, as seen as the previous series on it, on Death Stranding 1, did so well. I don't know. That's a different discussion to have. But I wanted this to try and reach more people, which honestly, weirdly, I think on a second channel, it's going to reach more people right now than it will the main channel. Again, I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to do as well by this as I can. I'm also going to try and keep this succinct and say the things that I know about it.
I have to get out of here, but please remember to sign up for Let's Killing Games. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful night. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same crime. And then Monday and Tuesday. And then check out my links below. Like I said, I've been using the Patreon a little bit more, so feel free to check that out. Anyway, bye everybody. Have a great night.